Hello, greetings. So I had a question on one of my Gorean videos a while back, where somebody asked three simple questions, and I haven't had time to answer it yet, and I also felt like I could answer it better in a video than just typing it up, especially when I'm trying to get used to this new uh, messages system of YouTube's that, yeah, I'm not so sure I like yet. Anyway, so I thought I would just answer these posters' questions in a video, and I deeply apologize for being taking so long to answer them. So here we go. The first question is, how would you yourself describe exactly what the Gorean lifestyle is? And now that's actually a tougher question than you would know, because it's basically a lifestyle that is based around a set of fiction books, and as such, it's very much open for interpretation. So, I mean, we tried this a while back in one of the Gorean forums I frequent, and asked basically what is it to be Gorean, and I think we got 12 or 13 different explanations when 20 people had replied. So yeah, but to try to get to the basics, the Gorean lifestyle is based around a series of science fiction books, Gore Saga, which was written by the author John Norman. These books describe another planet, counter Earth, where gigantic bugs, intelligent bugs, have decided that they are going to, well, more or less have some humans as pets. And they have seen how we destroy one another with technology on Earth, so they have forbidden most kinds of technology, bringing basically the world back to a basic. And in this world, which uh, you can see it as a mix of various antique cultures, like the Romans, Greeks, has a little bit of a few early Middle Ages cultures in there too, like Old Norse. Lots of these cultures are mixed in with some early Nietzsche and put to a stew. Yeah. Now, the author wrote the books originally as a sort of a reply to the women's liberations of the 60s and 70s. And basically, some would call the series misogynistic because it is very sternly males are dominant and females are submissive in the extreme. And basically, in this, the story of this is basically you have a guy from Earth, a college professor, this is a university professor. Anyway, he gets kidnapped and put on this planet and have to fight another alien race, and he meets and enslaves women left and right, and yeah, all good and fun. It's pretty typical swords and sandals, or as they like to call this particular subgenre of it, swords and spaceships, because it's men in line clothes with swords fight aliens and gets naked women. Yeah. But underneath all of the stories and so on, there is a philosophy baked into it. And a lot of people have fallen in love with that philosophy and taken that and made a lifestyle out of it. Now, exactly how much of the culture and basically the fiction elements of the Gore books that are part of a given Gorean's lifestyle, that varies a lot. Some try to copy almost everything from the books, everything that they can legally copy. Sorry for moving the camera around, I'm just trying to fix something. Um, while others only go with the philosophy. So exactly how the lifestyle plays out varies a lot. I know people who try to basically live exactly as the characters in the book lives, um, as or as close as they can get. While others sort of say, okay, this has really put me in the right direction for an inspiration, for a philosophy to follow for my life. And as such, I will call myself Gorean, but I won't really try to live like the people in the books because that's fiction. That's basically uh, a made-up world. There's no point in trying to emulate it. To try to explain myself with for example, take Free Women. Basically, the Gorean books do have a strong dominance and submissive element to it. As the males are dominant and the females are submissive. Females fall into two categories: free women and slaves. Now, free women you could see as the wives up until 1950s wives, but look at, for example, women in. If you see one of those modern uh, oh, what are all these TV series that just depict uh, depict ancient Rome, called it's Rome and it's Spartacus. I think it's a few more. Anyway, how the women are portrayed there, that would be a typical how a free woman are in the Gore books. And they are submissive to the men, but have their own money, they have their own a lot to say. While the slaves are basic property. Anyway, in the Gore books, free women cover up a lot because basically there's a huge problem there with free women being kidnapped and enslaved. Now, here's where somebody who are very true to the books will vary from somebody who more follow the philosophy. But I'm more in the category of following the philosophy rather than the books. So, for example, I will happily go around showing cleavage when I'm a free woman. And because in the books there's a very good reason why women cover up. There's two main reasons. One is that you have that concept that you don't have tests to see if somebody is the father of a child there. So since this is a patriarchal society, it's very important to control the sexuality of the women that you're going to breed with, so that you are sure that when your free companion, that equals your wife, have a baby, it's yours. The other problem is that free women are constantly kidnapped. And as it says directly in the book, uh, that free women cover up and limits this. It reduces the chance the woman will be kidnapped because it's quite dangerous to run in or swoop down on a giant eagle and pick up a woman. And if they can't see a woman and they don't know if she will be worth the cost, and they will rather go for a naked or very scantily clad slave girl than a free woman. So there's some very good reasons for free women to cover up. Therefore, since I view that as part of the fiction, it's part of the world where this comes from, and not a big part of the philosophy itself, I ignore that and happily show boobs. While somebody who is more book oriented, who tries to live more true with the books, generally then uh, have the women in his life cover up. So yeah, but as a detailed as possible description, I would say it would be um, it's a naturalist lifestyle. It's based on, and I'm not thinking about the nudist one here, but basically going back to nature. Um, you can say it's sort of related to the whole urban primitive movement. Basically, it's about living according to nature, not necessarily as in living in the forest and so on and so forth, but acknowledging human nature and living by it instead of trying to suppress human nature. It's about knowing yourself and developing yourself. In one way, you can say that the Gorean lifestyle and Gorean philosophy is about um, survival of the fittest. It's about that might makes right. But at the same time, this is controlled by a strong sense of personal personal honor and also a need to be your very best. In addition to this, it's a concept that freedom is a rare and precious gift that needs to be nurtured, and if you are not the kind of person that would fight and die to stay free, and perhaps you do not deserve that freedom. The Gorean philosophy do recognize slavery as an integral part of human society, it's always been part of it, and that those that will not die for their freedom might very well end up slaves. And though, of course, when practicing it in real life, it's all based on consensual slavery. And generally, it's also based on a concept that males are dominant and females are submissive. Uh, and as such, but of course, this is just in general terms. There are dominant females and there are submissive males, but as a general term, and that both genders will be happier if living this way as nature intends. So you can say it's a being Gorean is about living with honor and being true to your inner nature and accepting yourself as a human beast because that's what you are, you're a human animal. And then trying to paint over that with glossy paint that will only lead to problems. Other than that, it varies how much people add to it from the books that has inspired the lifestyle. So, question number 2. How would you explain it to someone new to it? Again, a difficult question. Basically, sort of dead, but I would say it's almost like a reconstructionist lifestyle. Like some pagans are reconstructionists and try to bring back the religion and way of life of some ancient culture. So you can say it's sort of like a reconstructionist lifestyle that focuses on bettering yourself instead of relying on technology, and that has a strong element of dominance and submission within it. Though, unlike what a lot of people present it as, the dominance and submission part of it is not the most important part. That is how I would explain it to somebody new to it. It's trying to take knowledge and wisdom from those that came before, and an acknowledgement that perhaps the Romans and the Greeks and the Vikings and so on knew more about how to be human than we do today with our colored toothpaste and computers. I would say that's in the core of it. Other than that, it's a lifestyle based around a series of books. But where we definitely do not believe we live on Gore. We have taken the way of life, the culture and philosophy from these books and applied them to our everyday life. Okay, question 3, which is, what is the day-to-day life like for someone in the Gorean lifestyle? I would say basically about like lifestyle of everybody else. It varies what position you have. If you are a slave, then very often you have shorts. Uh, you will be expected to completely obey the person that owns you. Some have a very structured, very ritualistic, ritualistic household where the slave kneels, talks in third person, uh, and there's a lot of ritual about it. Others just want the slave to obey and done with that. So it's very difficult to say this is how it is for everybody, but generally slaves will do tasks. Some work outside the home, some works only in it, but either case they work for the master mistress. Sometimes they will do sexual services for this good person that owns them. If you're a free woman, generally you will be like a 1950s wife. You have a lot to say about the household, but you are under your free companion if you have one. He rules the household, but you have a lot to say. Uh, you completely accept your femininity, but you live about everyday life. So yeah, we eat breakfast, we go to work, we empty the kitty litter, and it's basically the same for a free man as well. Uh, Sometimes people will then include things from the book. Some people will call coffee for black wine, for example, or have some part of their vocabulary or some ritualistic actions that are from the books in an attempt to try to live like people in the books do. So it depends how close to the books you are. For those such as me that are more about the philosophical aspect, I generally you won't really see much different from me than anybody else. Somebody that is very book related, you might notice some things, but generally we live like everybody else. It's just that we have a little bit different outlook on life than everybody else. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, I'm sorry for replying to you so late. Have a great day and blessed be.